Hello everybody, I hope everybody's been having a good week. I'm super excited to be able to show y'all pretty much one of a dream plant to be able to own and have found here locally on such a whim. It was absolutely wonderful. It is the Alocasia zebrina. Yes, as in zebra or zebra. You can see it's got just wonderful patterning, much like a zebra would. So it's got some really cool, striking patterns to be able to pair with the foliage. It just becomes a really nice kind of statement or eye-catching plant in the house, or here I have it on the patio. So just to tell you some more fun facts about it, it is more native to like Southeast Asia, around the Philippines. Kind of more universally speaking, you'll want to, it's more cold tolerant outside in USDA zones 10 and 11. So you want to think, tropical, subtropical conditions. You want to give it bright, indirect light. If you do give it direct light, make sure it's nice and filtered. I have it again here on the lanai through the pretty shaded porch screen stuff, so that helps to filter the rather direct light that it does get. But otherwise, as a house plant, you'll want to keep it away from cold drafts. Just keep it nice and warm. Of course, the warmer it is, honestly, it'll take off just being an elephant ear and things like that. So it is often kept as a house plant. It could survive as a house plant. I would say it would thrive more given those really warm, humid temperatures. It kind of wants to be well watered when it is watered, but doesn't want to be stuck in unmoving water. For fear of root rot and everything. So with all that being said, it does kind of bring me to the topic of soil mix and things, because this is kind of going to be an interesting potting video for me. I wanted to show y'all what I'm thinking of going ahead and potting it up in, as well as showing y'all how that's going to be achieved. So one of the key ingredients for soil mixes that I'm going to kind of use in this and some of the other things that I kind of deem more of a tropical mix is going to be perlite. I do want to eventually find some more local, or at least locally sourced, or at least even known sourced suppliers or just ingredients for my future soil mixes. But for now, perlite is going to help with just aeration of the soil. It's going to help improve drainage. It's going to help prevent soil compaction. Kind of on a smaller level, you can see the size of the perlite and everything. So that's one of the ingredients. I'm also going to incorporate some orchid bark, again for pretty much the same reason, help with drainage, aeration, just kind of on a chunkier, bigger level, etc. Then I'm also going to have the sphagnum moss, which is kind of still something newer in my arsenal. I'm not sure. It's been wonderfully beneficial and just it can be pricey, it can be interesting to source, so we'll see how it goes. But for now, it's been pre-moistened. This is something that you want to make sure you do a good job of kind of pre-moistening. Not too much, or I wish I could show you. But you don't want it so that it's dripping. You won't see moisture, water drops coming out. It's only going to be really wet to the touch. Because while it does retain water, you just kind of want to make sure to soak it, because at first as a block, it comes in a block and stuff. You want to just make sure to cut it up a little bit, as well as just go ahead and soak it before you incorporate it. Luckily it rained a little bit here this morning, so everything's already a little bit pre-moistened. And then in addition to all of that, I'm just going to go ahead and use a potting mix as just a base for the mixture. And for the first time, at least without it being a hanging basket, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and incorporate I guess this little coconut liner, just to kind of help with the aeration of the roots and everything. I know that I've had this other alocasia, one of them mask alocasias, if y'all know what I'm talking about, and a pot that just has so many holes. And I just feel the aeration, the increased aeration in the soil really helps promote good root growth. So I'm going to go ahead and keep an eye on it. In general, I would normally plant something like an alocasia like this, I guess in something this deep, just not necessarily this wide, But given the amended mixture that I'm going to be using, and just keeping an eye on it myself here on Lanai, I have some confidence that I'm not going to be like overwatering or having any issues with that, which would be my issue or would be a concern if I maybe planted something like this in too wide or too big of a pot, especially if I'm trying to worry about root rot or something like that. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try to do my best to just keep an eye on it. It's going to be a wonderful plant, so let me go ahead and show y'all maybe a little bit more close up how I'm going to go ahead and do this. Alright, so you can already kind of see how the basket is rather like breathable and kind of porous already, so it's really just for more of a hint of shape and just holding in a little bit of this soil that I'm going to go ahead and incorporate. Thank goodness I went ahead and laid down this mat that catches any of the kind of excess soil and makes for easy cleanup afterwards. Just wanted to go ahead and get this video done in the shade. It was a definitely hot and humid Florida day, and I wanted to go ahead and incorporate this nice layer in the shade, get this all ready. So I'm spreading this nice and thin, that way all the roots kind of have like a little bit of a thinner layer of some potting mix to go ahead and root into as it starts going and reaching like the end of this basket. And then as I go ahead and carry on, I'm actually going to incorporate mixing in some of this peat moss, as well as the orchid bark and the sphagnum moss directly into the remaining potting soil that I had, and go ahead and amend that for the kind of rest of the planting mix that I'm going to go ahead and use. I'm just going to mix that in with my hand here and see how that goes, how that looks. Normally I would kind of use some gardening gloves and a little bit of a trowel, but I was doing a project this morning and everything had already gotten a little bit used and abused. Didn't want y'all seeing a nice dirty old gardening gloves, so here we are with my hands. So perlite, just as a tip, as I kind of mix this in, you'll see the perlite incorporates really well. The moss is kind of starting to incorporate really well. If I kind of move this towards the center, it'll focus a little bit better. But I mostly wanted to say that as you do water and incorporate with perlite, you kind of want to make sure to water in slowly, steadily, because perlite being kind of I would say probably the lightest of the three, and maybe the most buoyant, I guess would probably be the best word. You want to make sure to go ahead and water slowly, thoroughly, because blasting it with water is probably going to go ahead and make a lot of that perlite soak to the top, and you'll just notice like a huge, and I wouldn't say huge, just like a piling up of perlite towards the top of your pots as you kind of just blast water through them rather than kind of going slow and steady. So if it's possible, always feel free to do that. I really like doing that, and I just think it uses less water as well if you're able to go ahead and take the time to kind of water thoroughly. Just make sure that you're not overwatering. So once you kind of incorporate the mixture, you can kind of see it looks nice. It has some of the potting mix in it. It's got the bark in it. So it's going to be a wonderful mixture to be able to make sure that the soil doesn't compact too much, to make sure that wind is able to go in there and dry out the roots, have some breathability. Believe it or not, like roots do need some air in there too. They don't just want to be like, stuck in clay soil, stuck in sandy soil and just not be able to breathe. So the moss really helps with that as well, gives something for them to latch onto, some more organic matter. The orchid bark helps for things to not break in as much. So let me go ahead and make sure to go ahead, plop this in. I'm going to plant it up and I will show you all the finished product. I wanted to show y'all as I kind of repot it. One of my favorite things to do or to see and notice as I repot plants is to go ahead and look at the root growth. So you can see the wonderful roots of this zebrina, the Alocasia zebrina, and just how wonderful it is. You can see it was a little bit on its like leaning to one side, so that's always just a good reminder to check on your plants, make sure to rotate them. We've actually had a couple rainy days and some windy days, so it's been a little bit leaning from that. So just wanted to show y'all how cool the roots are. I'll be back in a sec to show y'all what it looks like potted up. Ta-da! Here we are with the finished product. I think it looks so much happier already and so much more supported. I'll be honest, I'm probably gonna have to go ahead and pot this again in the fall, say in a handful of months, probably at the most, given the rate that alocasias grow and just how wonderful and supported I hope this grows. I'm very encouraged just by the mix that I was able to give it, the basket even. I hope that y'all liked kind of a little bit more of a style of video. I do want to like hone in a little bit better on how to show y'all just some of the repotting and just the potting in general that I'm doing, potting and repotting, as I think it's just like a wonderful time to kind of show y'all some progress, show y'all kind of what's happened, how I've taken care of things so far, how I want to maybe, how I've learned from things and want to like tweak things for the future, some of the pots that I grow, like certain plants in that are better for certain classes of plants, whether, you know, glazed for these plants, terracotta for these plants, you know, trying to hang a kind of more coconut basket for some other plants just to see how things go. So I'll go ahead and let you know, even trying, you know, like kind of self-watering or, you know, pots with water reserves and things like that, letting y'all know how some plants react to that. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend that's coming up. Let me know any of your plants that y'all have been keeping a wonderful eye out and that have been on your favorites as of late, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.